guys, Stephanie Zima here again with my way of life coaching, actually. Talking about walking it free today. Walking it free, what does purpose mean? Purpose. You know, for many years, let me tell you a quick story about me. For many years, I thought to myself, like, oh, I don't have the right words. I'm from Germany. I don't know all the English words, the proper English words, all that stuff. And I was having all these self-consciousness hesitations of like speaking about the things that I know, right? And now I'm telling you one thing. It just came to me. I'm just gonna go ahead and embrace it, completely embrace the fact that, maybe I do have simple language, and that's totally fine because you know what? It dawned on me that when you read these books, mindset and purpose, and have all these things and do all this stuff, people don't really know what that means. So let me break that down just a little bit, okay? What does it really mean for you when people say you need to find your purpose? And I posted about it earlier, talking about seasonal depression. Now, seasonal depression is something that most of you are very familiar with. Okay, what exactly does it mean? It means that you feel a little bit depressed because it came on suddenly due to whatever illnesses or some kind of trauma, grief, relationship problems, any of those things that can cause a seasonal and depression, right? And the depression can lead you into, they may not be as bad that you are having to get psychological help and medication, but they can leave you enough in this void where you are just kind of not really wanting to do anything. And you're maybe like just wanting to, like, you dropped your kids off at school and then you just kind of want to go back to bed. And you just don't really feel like cleaning up your house or making your yard right or doing like all these things. And some of you probably know what I'm talking about. And I've been there. I have been there. And then I thought to myself, I felt this, right? It's a distinct feeling you can feel. And when you never had it, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But when you've had this, you kind of like want to cry all the time. And then you are like, where does this come from? I usually feel happy. Like, what is, that's what it is, you guys. And it may also like reflect different on other people. However, I was thinking to myself, how do I make this happen? How do I make it happen that if you followed me for a while, you know that I've picked up my children and moved to Germany within 2 days because my mother was sick with cancer and I had to get there and help her. And I pivoted on a dime. And usually I talk about, look at me, I did that, or look at that, this. But today I want to talk about, how did I do that? How did I really manage to pick everyone up and move my whole entire family, except the husband, obviously, who had to stay behind, but my children, 3 children, how did I do this? How did I move them into a different country and make that all happen? And I'll tell you, it is coming down to purpose. It comes down to core values. It comes down to realization who I am and what I stand for and what I want to do. That clarity, that is what accelerates me to go from feeling bad to getting the motivation to get enough energy to move on to the things that have to happen, right? And it's the clarity. Purpose is the clarity of what it is that you are trying to accomplish. Now, sometimes when people are talking about purpose, they're going to say, like they're talking about their network marketing business, or they're talking about, the network marketing is the vehicle, the business is the vehicle, the purpose is what gets you up in the morning. It's the second mountain. It's the thing that really is at the origin of it. Now, for me, it's always been the children, right? I have a deep, deep, deep passion for children and innocent people, basically. And innocent people who cannot defend themselves, right? People who are bullied, for example. People who are being excluded. People who can't fight for themselves, the ill, the disabled, the children, right, who are completely innocent in this world. Ever since I've been a little girl, I've had a soft spot, right? And a soft spot, not feeling pity, but it's been recognizing that I am strong and that I have a strong energy and that I have power to help them. Okay. One of my godfather's daughters, she's been disabled, and I remember that very vividly, even as a little girl, before I was even in business as being a mentor. But back then, I remember I was so upset at people who would stare at her because she was different. And I would jump in front of her and I would like guard her and be the protector, right? The protector. Later on, I have realized that that was one of the things that is in my personality type. Like if you are diving deeper into like Enneagrams and human design and all those kind of things, you start recognizing that those things are not there by default. I mean, they're not there by accident, is what I want to say. They're not there by accident. They are there because they have a purpose, okay? They have a purpose that will guide you to what will ultimately create your happiness. Now, how do you find your purpose? Like, how do you know what it really is, and that gets you out of those slumps, out of that seasonal depression, that gives you that jolt, right? Yes, you can take supplements, for example, to hype you up all the time, and that'll work for a while, okay? It'll work for a while, and then you should do it for like just taking care of your health. But you know, you also need more. You need more. Supplements alone is not what it is. You need more. You need to get your drive. You need to figure out what it is for you that fuels your soul, right? What do you burn for? What sets your soul on fire, right? When you listen to these motivational songs and stuff, what sets your soul on fire? That's not just talking, that is the truth. And how do you find that though? First of all, you gotta start on really slow steps. You gotta figure out where are you at, okay? I talked, beginning of the week or last week, I talked about the pyramid of needs, okay? And I want to kind of go over this again. So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that is a pyramid, must be a pyramid scheme. You know, sorry, I couldn't help myself, but that is a pyramid that defines basically people's needs, okay? And on the very bottom of it, it says physiological needs, okay? So that's food, water, warmth, and rest. Those are basically the basic needs every single human needs to have. Then the next level up is safety needs, right? Security and safety, home, finances, those kind of things. And then the third one is belonging, love, and needs, intimate relationships, friendships, love and belonging. Then comes esteem needs, prestige, feeling of accomplishment, right? And see, here's where the problem is. Esteem and self-actualization are only the top two tiers of that pyramid. But that's what everyone is focusing on right now. What we're not focusing on is the bottom of the pyramids. The how many people don't sleep? How many people don't get enough rest? How many people do not fuel their bodies with the appropriate nutrition? How many people have financial problems, right? How many people feel lonely? Those are the bottom three tiers. Okay, now when you're talking about purpose, okay, you have those three tiers that people have. Now you've got to figure out where on that spectrum are you? Where on that spectrum do you have a lack? Okay? Where's something out of line? When you identify that, and by the way, this is all stuff I do in my mentorship group, okay? In my mentorship group, that's why it's a year long, because it's a lot of stuff that you got to work through. So people can choose to either go to psychotherapy, behavioral therapy, right? And they can work all those things through there. Then you can, utilize a coach, right? A mentor like me. Or you can like not do anything and then you just live, right? I mean, those are the things. But I tell you that when you work these things through, when you figure out where are you off, okay? Where are you off? Where do you need to adjust something? Your whole life will get a different meaning, right? Because you're going to start getting in touch with your purpose. What are you burning for? I am burning for children, right? I'm burning for innocence. So then I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I help? How do I help that? How do I become helpful? How do I utilize the gifts that I've been giving of strength and tenacity and, consistency? How do I use those strengths to fuel that purpose? And through that, you guys, through that, I just somehow become like this Energizer bunny. I just keep going every single day. I keep going every single day. So if you are a mom, for example, who are sitting at home struggling with those Energizer bunny or with the seasonal depression, right? If you are sitting there not really knowing what you need to do, it's because you are not clear on your mission, vision, values for you, your personal goal, your family goal, your financial goal, and your health goal. Okay, it's those four things. You've got to get that hierarchy of needs permit satisfied. You've got to get it all satisfied. You've got to figure out which ones do you need to address first. Where are you having the biggest issues? And then those steps don't have to be huge, you guys, okay? I mean, I am not a bodybuilder. I'm a almost 47-year-old mom. There's no way that I can be in the gym for like 2 hours every single day. I still have babies. I'm like schlepping around and doing things, right? Well, I mean, they're now, my youngest is in kindergarten. I'm finally getting out on the other side. But I'm still now having the next step of troubles, right? The next step of challenges that are coming up. With every phase of motherhood, there's a different kind of challenge that comes with it. So in order to do that, I got to be clear with myself. And, being clear with myself, what does it allow me to do? It allows me to become the parent that I want to be. It allows me to make sure that I somewhat control the future. I somehow control how my kids are going to be acting with me later on. And this, my friends, okay, is what many of you are not thinking about. Okay, you are you are in pain, and I recognize that, and you are talking to your mommy friends about your children, and you're talking about all the heartbreaks and the hard stuff. One of the things you're not thinking of is that the more you talk about the negative, the more you're going to attract the negative. That is going to happen. The more you're going to focus on that, that's what's coming more of. Okay, so when we think, okay, and here's the twist. We think we are complaining about the things so we can feel closer with each other, so we can satisfy that need of love and belonging. We are actually hurting ourselves. We are hurting ourselves. We are also hurting our children because they are thinking, my mom is really stressed out with me. My mom doesn't really like spending time with me. My mom, so then what do? Okay, they're trying to cope. They are now acting out. Now they're like, doing all the things. So this is not to blame you, mom, okay? That's not to blame you. This is to give you a guidance as to what you can do. How can you fix this? The way how you fix it is you become clear about who you are. Remember who you were. What set your soul on fire? What was your purpose? Okay? What was your reasons why you had a family? Why did you want a family? What was your thinking, your thoughts about with your family? How did you want your children to be? What's the relationship supposed to be like? How do you want your relationship with your husband be? What kind of friends were you looking to envision? All these kind of things. That is part of what that work, this mentorship work, is about, right? This is what you're unveiling. Now, when you have answers to these things, when you become clear about what it is that you wanted to do, and you're going to look at your circumstances of what you have actually right now, that's when you can start putting little changes in place. Many of you, and on my Facebook here, many of you, or even on YouTube maybe, I don't know, many of you are network marketers. Okay, so you are in business one way or another. The reason why you're in business is because of money, probably, and wanting to make an impact, feeling needed. What do the people who wanting an impact, what do they want? They want recognition. They want to help others, because through helping others they will feel better themselves. Okay, that's what it is. Then there are people who are being blinded by the shiny objects, right, of making a lot of money, and then they are going to come into the reality that you're still going to need to work, you're still going to need to show up every single day and do the things, otherwise you're not going to make the big bucks, right? And then they're going to be like, they're going to get stuck there. Now, what I want you to know is the dream is not wrong. You're wanting to use this as a purpose is not wrong, okay? But to keep the motivation, you have to figure out what it is inside of you that fuels you. What is behind wanting to sell supplements or wanting to, do something? That's what you need to do your purpose for when you are in business, right? When you're a mom and you're struggling with postpartum, or you're struggling with just feeling blue, right? Or you're an empty nester maybe, and you're sitting there and you're like, whoa, I spent all these years taking care of my kids, and now what am I gonna do? It's the same. It's the same for all these stages of life. You are figuring it out when you get back in touch with yourself, when you get back in touch with who you are, what made you happy, what got you all excited, and how can you incorporate that into your life right now? Okay, how can you get more of that into it? And that's what will pull you through anything. When life throws crap at you, you're gonna remember, why am I doing this? What's my purpose? If your marriage is not working out great, you're going to figure out which one of those tiers needs love and connection. You don't only need to get love and connection from your spouse. Okay, you can get love and connection from friends, from close friends. However, let me talk about friendship here for a second. Not just any friend. You cannot make true connected friendships if you do not know who you are. That's one of the things. Why am I still friends with my childhood friends? Because at that time I was still me, and it's kind of like when we got to know each other, we reconnected on a child level, we connected on a little level. When you then grow up, you get all this keeping up with the Joneses, or making sure you are looking this way, right, or this has to be perfect, or your hair has to be, all that stuff that doesn't matter. Okay, none of that matters. That is not what is going to connect you. And I happen to be a person who likes to talk very fast and very deep to people, and I'm a person who's like giving my heart to everyone, and I got burned a lot of times. You have to learn. I had to learn how to identify the people who really are on my level. Okay, not everyone is on my level. Not everyone is on your level. Not everyone wants to be on your level. And you know what, guys? That is okay too. That's okay too, right? They say there's a pot for every pan. No, what is it? There's a lid for every pot, or something like that, I guess, right? That's what it is, okay? So I hope this was helpful. I hope this helped somebody pushing through some of the things. I have lots of comments here already, which is, I was just talking. So, hi, Polly. What are you saying here? Let me see. I love ya. Da, 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 da. Stay positive. Yeah, I do know your situation. Let me just read real quick what you said here. So you know my situation. When you others know, they will understand. If they understand, you have been a great help, friend, and I'm truly blessed. You are like, oh, you're so sweet. I love you so much, you know. And yes, you are, Polly. You are a very, very strong person. Okay, and I want you to know that it is okay. It is okay to, like, you do that for me. Okay, do that for me. Identify what is, do that for me today. Journal a little bit about it. What is it that Polly likes? What is it that you are in it for? Like, what did you like as a little child? And then make sure that you are going to do something like that at least once a week. Okay, and really like become conscious of it. Become conscious that you are like rewarding yourself somehow. You are doing some incredible work, and it takes a lot of, it takes a lot of power, personal power. You are a unique person. Not everyone can do what you're doing. Okay, and the strength has been given to you on purpose. That strength is meant for good and for more. But you know, the strongest people cannot give more when they don't take care of themselves. Okay, when good people are not taking care of themselves, they get sick, and that is not something that you want to do. So make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you reflect on what it is, and then just put it in. Recruit help. Ask people, you know, to take over for a minute, that you can consciously do what fuels you. Okay, there are moments here in my family life when I say, or you guys seen it, you've guys seen me go away for a weekend. I went away for a weekend just by myself. Just by myself. You know what I did? I went into a hotel room and literally I took a nap. So I just went and I took a nap because that's what I needed to do, right? That's what I needed to do. I needed to be calm, and I needed to cry, and that was how I processed the death of my mom. I had to just be by myself without anybody asking ever anything off of me. And I went for walks and I went for runs and I reflected, did some work, because the work I love my courses, I love my mentorship, like that fuels me because I love helping people. You know, but take what it is that you need to do. Okay. All right, my loves. I shall all see you next week, maybe before, I don't know, whenever I feel like it. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Bye.